Welcome to my channel, and I'm here to inspire you, give you crochet advice, and help you along with your next project. If you enjoyed this pattern, please give me a thumbs up or even comment so I can gauge your interest. It helps me to know what to film next. I'm not very formal. Here's today's zinger. You know, some days I feel like an oversized Harry Potter, you know, one that loves yarn. You know what exactly I'm talking about. And you know what? I can still make magic with my stick. Let's get on with today's tutorial. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd with my friends at yarnspirations.com. We're refilming this introduction. So I've already done it once, but now that I've done most of the pattern now here in tutorial format, I've learned a lot more, so it's time to restart. So what we have here is that we have the setup rows number 1 through 5, and that's using the one color, and it's gonna get ourselves started so that we can be able to follow this in a more cohesive manner. After we get this done, the setup rows, we're then going to start doing the mosaic. So what we have here is that on the final page there's a diagram that is available to you. Let me just zoom you in, and this is what I've learned. Is that we're going to get ourselves started and we're going to be picking up. So do you see that this is number 3, this is number 2. So there's a row 1 here that is gonna get ourselves started as we continue. So these are the setup rows of using one color. The mosaic starts right here on 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 is gonna get ourselves so that we can be prepared. The repeat for the entire pattern, once you get this moving along, is these rows 3 through 14, and that's going to get us to the end of the repeat. So you can see that there is 12 rows in order to make that happen. Here's the thing that you need to know. On the edges it's always gonna be the same. So when you look at this and you say this is row number 3, if you come back to it in the future, it's still the same count from the edge. And as I learned in this is that this is the center of the shawl. So what you're looking at here is not the actual shawl itself, it's just one half of it. So when you follow the instructions as you come across, you follow. This is the center point, and they're asking you to put a stitch marker in there so that we can do it, and I've done that already so far in the tutorial. Is that once we get there we read the diagram going backwards in the opposite direction. So you can use this, it's a mirror. So how you got into the point is how you get out of the point. So let's say for example you single, chain 2, skip a stitch, and then do your point. When you after the point it's then chain 2, skip a stitch, and then single, chain 2, skip a stitch, and etc. So it's actually not that hard. So what I have done here in the tutorial as we've been moving along in this is that I've been getting yourself set up. I'm actually at the end of row number 14 now. So I've actually done the entire repeat. Once you understand this repeat, it's actually really quite easy because the stitch counts are always gonna be the same and how it's jumping down. It's just a matter of understanding where you're gonna jump down. So you use the very beginning of a row to be able to tell you what to do, and then once you get and establish that, you will notice that it's always gonna be the same. So do you see how this follows up on an angle? And that the angle is slightly different here? Well, because it's up on an angle for the triangle shawl, it has unique beginnings. So that's why there's a repeat from 3 all the way to 14 here. And hopefully that will make a lot of sense to you. So let's continue and on with today's tutorial and get yourself started. So let's begin by creating a slip knot. This is an intermediate level using our 5mm size H crochet hook today. We're going to start with the first color, and the first color will take us all the way to row number 5. This is the setup rows, and so we'll be beginning with that. So it's chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and let's now proceed into row number 1 of the setup row. In row number 1 we are going to go 4th chain from the hook, which is the very start here, and you're going to apply 5 double crochets. Now the chaining that you just skipped over is classified as one of the double crochets. So when you put these 4 in, that extra chains that you skipped is included. So there will technically be 5 double crochets when you're finished. So I just put the 4 double crochets, 4th chain from the hook, and with that chain that I just skipped over, that gives you the number of 5. Let's turn our work and let's begin the second row. So let's begin row number 2. If you've not already turned your work, please do so. So we're gonna start off and we're going to chain 3, and that will count as your first double crochet. In the same stitch that you came out of right here, you're going to apply 1/2 double crochet. So that gives you an increase on the edge stitch. So this is 1/2. The very next stitch will be a single crochet, and the next one is the middle of that grouping of 5. So we need to place a stitch marker in there. So watch what I'm gonna do. In this stitch you're going to apply 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 single crochet. So you'll do 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 single crochet, but before you move on, they're recommending that you do it is just right in the center here in that chain 2 space. Just get some spare yarn or a stitch marker and just apply it and pull it through. It's got to be important if they're saying it. So let's just do that. And now let's continue. The next one after this is going to be a single crochet, and finally the turning chain here is going to be a half double crochet, and then in the same turning chain, half double crochet, and then the same turning chain will be a double crochet. And that concluded then row number 2. Let's turn our work and begin row number 3. In row number 3 you're going to chain 3, which will count as your double crochet, and in the same stitch you'll place in 1 half double crochet. Does that sound familiar? It was exactly what we just did. Now you're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch until you get to the center point of the chain 2. So starting in the next stitches, so just 1 single crochet and 1 and 1, and now you're into the center point here. So in the center point you're going to do what you already know. So you're going to single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. And if you want to apply that stitch marker going through, so just open that chain 2 space and pull that stitch marker through. Don't pull it all the way through, let it carry up so that you can always see it. Okay, so it's, you see it's coming out of one hole going down the other. Now on the other side just start immediately and just single crochet yourself all the way to the turning chain, and in the turning chain you will apply 1 half double crochet. Make sure you go right into the chain, not to a space. So 1 half double crochet and then a double crochet to finish. And that was row number 3. Let's turn our work and begin the next 2 rows, which will be 4 and 5. So row number 4 is exactly what we just did, so we'll do it again. So we chain 3 and then a half double crochet into the same stitch it's coming out of, so you have that increase happening. You'll apply 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way to that spot. Okay, and now here's the chain 2 spot, so make sure you put in a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and then move that stitch marker up so that you can find it in the future. If you feel you don't need a stitch marker, then that's up to you. If you can find it, all the power to you. Continuing across, 1 single crochet in each of the stitches, and what do you think the turning chain is gonna have? If you said that it's gonna be 1 half double crochet and then a double crochet, you're right. So that was row number 4. Let's begin and turn our work and do number 5, and this will be the final of the setup row. In row number 5, the very last stitch, you should have the next color ready. So the next ball, we are not fastening off any of this yarn in between any of the stages, so make sure that you're not gonna cut any yarn. So we're going to start with row number 5 with chaining of 3. That counts as your first double, and then in the same stitch it's gonna be a half. It's already what you know, is that there's gonna be 1 single crochet in each of the stitches until you get to that chain 2 spot. In the chain 2 you'll single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and why don't you move that stitch marker while you can see it. Again, your call if you want to do that. Now you're gonna continue then all the way to the edge, and we have to introduce that second color on the last stitch. And I'll show you how that's done. So the back side of this shawl. You really can't see it, but the back side looks striped. It does not look like what the model is wearing at all. So on the final chain you'll half double crochet, and then you'll double crochet, but watch, you're going to double crochet but you're not gonna finish the stitch. You're gonna just finish in the last two that are left on the hook. Wrap this one here, so don't create a slip knot, and just pull through. And now that color will be ready as we now progress to the body of this blanket, or sorry, the body of the shawl, as we continue then and start with row number 1 of starting to do mosaic concept. So during the foundation setup rows I've been staring at this chart trying to understand exactly what I'm looking at here. Now there's a note here, it says this is the center of the shawl, so I'm thinking I don't see this on the edge, and then I'm realizing this is the center point that we've been pulling that stitch marker through. So the designer has us, it says only right half of the shawl is shown. The left hand is a mirror of this image. So when you work your way across, and we're going to start here with row number 1 where we're going to do all this fancy footwork as we're making our way across, when we get to the center point we just have to do the center point, and then we look, and then we just follow the chart going back in the opposite direction in order to get this thing to work. So you're literally looking, reading the instructions, following it, and then you do the center and then follow it going back in the other direction. So that's actually pretty simple when I think about it. It's a great idea. So without complicating the system too much, let's begin row number 1. In mosaic concept then what we have going on is that there will always be 2 rows per color. So we're gonna go across with the blue and then back with the blue, and then we'll switch back to this amethyst color, this pink color, and then we'll do 2 rows of that and then reintroduce. So this side we're going to be carrying the yarn up on the side, and that'll be buried by a border at the end. Let's move on now to row number 1. So you're going to chain a total of 3, and then in the same one that you're coming out of you need to do a half double crochet. Now as we begin to do this is that we are going to then chain 2, and we're gonna skip just 1 stitch and single crochet into the next. So we'll do that one plus 2 more, so there'll be 3 in a row. The repeating on this is actually pretty consistent, so we're getting ourselves really kind of set up in this row. So now you'll chain 2, skip the next one, and single crochet into the next 3 again. So 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, and then you're going to skip over this this next one here and go right into the center, and the center is what you already know. It's gonna be a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and if you wanna put that stitch marker into that position it'd be better. And now we're gonna continue with this side, so it's just gonna be opposite to what you just did. So you're just gonna chain 2, you'll skip over the first one and do the next 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then you'll chain 2, skip the next one and do the next 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and then chain 2, skip the next one, and then go right into your last one with a half double crochet. The last one is a turning chain, so you do a half double crochet and then a double crochet. And that was row number 1, and you're gonna turn your work and begin to go on row number 2. Now row number 2 and the even numbers are always gonna be the same idea. So if there's a chain 2 you're going to apply a chain 2 and just single crochet into each of the stitches. So I always say match stitch to stitch, chain for chain when you're doing this particular concept. So let's begin row number 2. So in row number 2 you're going to chain 3 and then half double crochet in the same one. So you really are just looking for those chain 2 spots. So you have a stitch here, so you'll have to go into that one. So that's a single crochet, and then the next one is a chain 2. So you'll match it with a chain 2 to jump over it, and then just go into the other stitches on the other side of the jump. So this is what I mean of matching stitch to stitch, chain for chain. So you can see there's chain 2 underneath it, so I'm gonna chain 2 to jump it and then just go into the stitches after the jump. Okay, you see another chain 2, jump, going into the next stitch on the other side, and then you're back here in the center. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and then move that stitch marker while you're here, and then come on to the other side. So again, stitch to stitch, chain for chain. So every time I'm going to match stitch to stitch, chain for chain, this is what it means. Now sometimes there could be a double crochet that's in there that is counted as a stitch, so don't forget that. And this happens on the even numbers like 2, 4, 6, 8, and etc. Okay, here's a space, so chain 2, and then the last stitch, of course, is going to be what you already know in the turning chain, will be a half double crochet and chain 2. Now I just finished that and I shouldn't have, so I'm just gonna back it out, and before you pull through the final, I want you to drop this yarn, and I want you to pick this one up here, and you want to tighten it back to where it should be and pull it up, and so it rests on the outside, and you'll be bearing that with the border, so you don't have to worry about it. And then you can turn your work and do row number 3 and 4 next. So let's do number 3. So now let's begin rows 3 and 4. So I'm gonna do everything in pairs like that because the coming back is always stitch to stitch, chain for chain. So you're going to chain up 3, you'll half double crochet in the first one there, you'll single crochet in the next, and then you're going to chain 2 and jump over this one, and then this one will come on down. So when you have these chain 2 spaces, the next double crochet will come into this one down here. So I'm gonna say jump on down. You're going to single crochet the next one and then chain 2, skip over this one, and then jump on down, and you keep repeating that all the way to the other side. So you're gonna get all the way to the other side here. Then like on the border, or sorry, on the point. Then once you get to the point, you read it backwards, so you'll single crochet the first 2, jump on down, chain 2, skip over, single crochet the next 2, jump on down, chain 2, and etc. So just keep reading it back and forth almost like a typewriter. And so then number 4 is just matching stitch to stitch, chain for chain, and then that will get ready for the next rows. So let's do 3 and 4 next. So let's do rows number 3 and 4. So you're gonna chain 3, and then you'll half double crochet into the first one there, like right where that one's coming out of. And then we're going to single crochet the very next stitch. You're now going to chain 2 and skip over the next single crochet right here, and you're gonna jump on down into this spot right here. So when you do that, you're gonna double crochet, you're gonna lift this out of position, so you're just gonna go in, just pull that stitch forward and keep the hook on the front side of the work and double crochet, and this just rests right in the top there. The next 2 stitches in a row, so that counts as that stitch that is in the chain 2 space. So the next 2 in a row are each going to be a single crochet, and then you're gonna repeat what we just did all the way across to the point. So chain 2, skip the next one, and jump on down. And then single crochet the next 2 in a row, and then repeat what you know. So chain 2, skip the next single, and then jump on down. Isn't that pretty cool? So now we're gonna continue, and you're going to single crochet the last 2 that are there before the point. And now you're gonna come into the point with what you know. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. I'm going to move the stitch marker up so I can see it. And then we're gonna continue then down the other side. So it's exactly what you just did, but it's opposite. So let's just start it. So we're gonna single crochet the first 2 in a row. So 1 and 2, and this time on this side we're gonna jump down, and then after you've jumped down with the double crochet, you're gonna chain 2, and you'll skip the first single crochet there. Okay, so here's the chain 2, here's the first single, so you'll skip that one, and you'll single crochet in the next 2 singles. Okay, so let's do the repeat. So you're gonna jump on down, chain 2, skip the first single and single crochet the next 2 in a row, and then jump on down, chain 2, skip the next single, and then you just got 2 stitches left. So you'll single in the first one, and then this is the last stitch, so you'll half double crochet and double crochet, and that was the end of row number 3. So you're going to turn your work now and match stitch to stitch, chain for chain. So let's just quickly review this one more time. So you just chain 3 and then half double crochet in the first one and single crochet any of the stitches that you will run into, and if there's a chain 2 you just jump it. So you just, there's a chain 2 right there. So you'll just chain 2 and jump over it and then go into the next one. So the next one here is a double crochet. If you turn it around you can see it. Still count that as a stitch. So just continually add those single crochets into every stitch and just continually jump over those chain 2s, and then make sure you treat the middle point as the same of single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, move up your stitch marker, and that will get you to the end of number 4 in just a moment. So please do this and I will see you at the end of number 4. So I'm coming up to the end of number 4. I'm just matching stitch to stitch, chain for chain. Now in the last one, don't forget it's gonna be a half double crochet to start, and this is the return pass of this color, so that means that we have to get rid of it. So we're gonna just half double crochet, double into the last, and don't finish that last one, just drop this color, bring up the blue, just tighten it up a little bit and bring up the blue and finish that stitch, and we're now ready for 5 and 6 next. We're now ready for 5 and 6. So you're just gonna use this color, chain 3, half double crochet in the edge. You're then going to put in 1 single into the next 2, and then you're going to chain 2 and then drop on down, like skip this one and then drop on down. Single crochet the next 2, chain 2, skip, and then drop on down. Do you see that this is going up on an angle? If you can see that, that is your award-winning idea. Everything is gonna stay consistent with this, so there's no jumping around. It stays really quite equal. So as you're working your way across, you're just repeating that all the way to the center point, and then 5 when you come back it's just opposite to what you see. So I bet at this point, now that I'm getting into this tutorial, I can see that I may not have to watch this so carefully that the stitches will work out every time. However, always use the diagram just to make sure. So let's go on to 5 and 6 as next steps. So let's do number 5. You're gonna chain 3, counts as your first double, and in the same one you're coming out of, just apply a half double crochet. So now we're going to single crochet the next 2 in a row. I bet you're gonna see the consistency here. I'm actually really quite happy now. Not that I wasn't, but yeah. So chain 2, skip the next single, and then jump on down. It's exactly what we've been doing, right? It's just a different color. So you'll single crochet the next 2 in a row, 1 and 2, and then chain 2, jump the next single, and then jump on down. So it's moving up on an angle. Interesting. Okay, so we're gonna continue this all the way. This is gonna be pretty consistent, so I don't know if I have to film each row entirely across, because you can probably see that for yourself. But I'll take you through some of it for sure. So as you get closer to the edge here, we need to, or to the point, we need to create a chain 2 space here, because we need to have a jump down in the future. So don't forget that. So you'll chain 2 and then skip 1 and then single crochet the next 2 in a row, because you will have continuous growth, right? So then in the chain 2 spot, it's right here actually, I pulled it through the wrong one. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. I'm gonna move that up, and then this side is completely the opposite to what we just did. So if we did 2 singles leading into this section, we'll have 2 on this side. So 1 and 2. Okay, chain 2, skip the next one, and single crochet the next 2 in a row. So single, single, and then drop on down. Just remember, after you do a drop on this side of it, you have to chain 2 to create a space. You'll use that in the future. Skip the first single and then single crochet the next 2. So 1 and 2 and then drop on down. Skip the next one, single crochet the next 2 and drop on down. I want to make sure I get right into the stitch, not an accidental space that I just did. So chain 2 after it, skip the next single and then do the rest of the remaining. So that'll be 2 singles in a row. And then in the end, you know what to do, right? It's a half and then a double. So you're gonna turn your work and do row number 6. So turning it, you're gonna match stitch to stitch, chain for chain. You know what to do at this point. So just start off with the chain 3, half double crochet in the first, and then if there's a stitch, match it with a single crochet, and if there's a chain, jump on over it with the chain 2. And please do that and go across the center, and I'll see you at the end of number 6 in just a moment. As you get back to the other side, don't forget to change that color back on that final pull through of that last double crochet. Turn your work, and now we're ready for 7 and 8. 7 and 8 is now next, and you'll start off the first way, chain 3, half double crochet in the first. You'll then do 3 single crochets in a row, chain 2 and then jump on down, and then it's consistently all the way to the center point right here. Okay, so you're just gonna work your way all the way through, and when we get near to the center, we just gotta make sure that we apply a chain 2 here that we're gonna use in the future. So you're gonna notice that the growth is always happening because we're adding more stitches, right? So then once you get to the center, you'll come back in the opposite direction all the way back, and so now we're gonna do 7 and 8 next. Let's begin number 7. Chain 3 and half in the beginning. Okay, so now you're gonna single crochet the next 3 in a row. So 1, 2, 3, and then that gets you all set up for you repeating all the way to the center point. So chain 2, skip the next single and drop on down. So single crochet the next 2 in a row. Okay, chain 2, skip the next one and then drop on down. Single crochet the next 2, chain 2, skip the next one and drop on down. Single crochet the next 2, chain 2, drop on down, single crochet the next 2, 1 and 2. Okay, and then you're going to chain 2, and in this one here you're just gonna skip 1 and you'll single crochet the next one, and then the point is next. So here is the point, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Let's move up that stitch marker while we're here, and let's begin the other side. So it's opposite to what you just did. So you can always look to how you got into the corner, or how you got into the point to how you get out. So the next one is gonna be 1 single crochet on its own, chain 2, skip 1, 1 single crochet in the next one there, and the next one, and then drop on down. And here's your repeat going to the other side. So chain 2 after that, skip 1, single crochet the next 2, and then drop on down. Chain 2, skip the next one, single crochet the next 2, and then drop on down. Chain 2, skip 1, do the next 2, drop on down, and as you're coming close to the edge, chain 2, skip the next single, and then you'll single in the remaining that are left. So 1, 2 and 3, is into this one here, and then you have your turning chain left, which is going to be your half double crochet and your double crochet into the same stitch. You're going to turn your work as we begin to row number 8. Row 8 is matching stitch to stitch, chain for chain. You already know what to do, so chain 3 half into the first one, and then just put singles in the stitches and chain 2s to jump over the chain 2s. Do your point, move your stitch marker, and then switch your yarn over, back, and I'll meet you on row number 9 in just a moment. So now we're gonna do 9 and 10. So we're gonna start up chaining 3, we'll half double crochet in the first. We're gonna immediately then chain 2 and skip over the first half double crochet here, and then we do the next 3, chain 2 to skip and then jump down. Single crochet the 2, chain 2 and skip, and then come on down, and we're gonna do that all the way across, and we're going to have a chain 2 just before the corner point there, and then we'll come back in the opposite direction. Let's do 9 and 10 next. So let's do number 9. You're gonna chain 3. I've already changed my color over just so you know, and then I'm gonna half double crochet in the first. Now we have to immediately chain 2 at this point, and we're gonna skip over this half double crochet here, which is the next stitch, and then you're going to single into the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. Now you'll chain 2, skip the next single, and then jump on down. Okay, so the repeat then is the next 2 in a row will be singles, chain 2, skip the next single, and then jump on down. Single crochet the next 2 in a row, chain 2, skip the next one and jump on down. Single crochet the next 2, chain 2, jump the next one, and then come on down. Single crochet the next 2. It's just a repeat pattern, right? It's nice. Okay, chain 2, skip the next one and jump on down. And as I mentioned, we're gonna be coming across, so you're just gonna do the next 2 in a row, and you're going to chain 2 and then come immediately into the corner spot. So it would be single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in, move that stitch marker up. I find it's actually kind of handy. I don't usually do stitch markers like this on shawls, but I think in this case it works. So chain 2, skip the first one out, and then you're going to single crochet the next 2 and then jump on down. Now you're going to chain 2, skip the next one out, single crochet the next 2, and then jump on down. Chain 2, skip the next one, single crochet the next 2, and then jump on down. Chain 2, skip the next one, single crochet in the next 2. So 1 and 2, and come on down. Chain 2, skip the next one, single crochet the next 2, and then come on down. Chain 2, skip the next one, and you'll do the next 2 in a row, and then you're going to what are we gonna do? We're going to, sorry, just one second, just reading the instructions here. So we're gonna do the 3, so 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, skip this half double crochet, and then right into the end here you were going to apply 1 half double crochet and 1 double crochet. Now you're gonna turn your work for number 10 and match stitch to stitch, chain for chain, and I'll be right back in just a moment. So I'll see you back here at the end of number 10 in just a moment. And now we're ready to do 11 and 12. So chain 3, you're going to do your half double crochet in the first one. There we go. You're going to single crochet the next one, chain 2, and then skip 1 and then drop. Single crochet the next 2, chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, skip the single crochet and then drop. So you're gonna do that all the way to the point, and then the point there will be 2 single crochets just before the point after the drop, and so we just do opposite coming back. So let's do number 11 and 12. So let's do number 11 and 12. So here's 11. So you're just gonna chain 3. I've already changed my color. You probably noticed. Okay, so you're now going to single crochet the next single crochet that's available to you, and then you're going to chain 2 and then skip the next single and then drop. This is your repeat all the way to the point at this point. Okay, so single crochet the next 2, chain 2, skip the next one and then drop on down. Single crochet next 2, chain 2, skip the next one and then drop. Single crochet the next 2, chain 2, skip the next one and then drop. Single crochet the next 2, chain 2 and drop. Single crochet the next 2, chain 2, single crochet, drop on down, single crochet the next 2, chain 2 and drop. And then coming in close to the end, you'll single crochet the 2 just before the point, and then do your point. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and move that stitch marker up while you're here. And now let's go down the other side, so you can look at this and how you got there, so it makes it easier. So you start with the 2 singles in a row, so 1 and 2, and then drop on down, and then this is going to be your repeat, then going to the other side to the edge. So chain 2, skip the next one, single the next 2, and drop. Chain 2, skip the next single and go to the next 2 and drop. Chain 2, skip the next one, single the next 2 and drop. Chain 2, skip the next one, single crochet the next 2 and drop. Chain 2, skip the next one, so you did the 2 single crochets and then drop. Chain 2, skip the next one, single crochet the next 2 and drop. Chain 2, skip the next one. You're going to single crochet into the half double crochet that's next, and then the very final is a half double crochet and a double into the edge. So you're going to turn your work and do row number 12, which is matching stitch to stitch, chain for chain, and you'll do that all the way across, and I will meet you back here in just a moment as we continue to the final of the repeat of rows number 13 and 14. I'll be back in just a moment. So let's do number 13 and 14, and once we get restarted here, we're going to be starting back on number 3 in order to continue. So what we have here is in row number 13, we're going to chain up 3. We'll single down into, we'll half double crochet in the first one, as we know. We'll single the first 2, chain 2, and then drop. Single the next 2, chain 2, skip, and then drop, and you'll do this all the way to the point. when you get over to the point on this one here, followed and across, you just do opposite to what you already see, and we'll be doing that for 13 and 14 next. Let's do this. Okay, let's do number 13 and 14. So just chain up 3 to begin and half into the first. Okay, so now let's look at the diagram. So we're gonna do single crochet in the first 2. I just have to look at the diagram to know how I'm gonna start, and then once I understand where I'm starting and then the repeat picks up, it gets easier. So then I'm gonna chain 2 and skip over and then come on down the other side. Okay, so we're gonna single crochet the next 2. So here's the repeat, and then chain 2, skip the next one and come on down. I'm going to leave the camera on as I make my way to the point. It's what you already know. It's the same repeating over and over, and I will quieten up now. So I'm getting closer to the point. So I just did my 2 after this. I'm gonna chain 2, skip the next one and single crochet the last 2 before the point, and then coming in to the point, single crochet, chain 2, single, move that stitch marker up while we're here, and now we're gonna do the opposite side. So I can look at here and see how I got there. So you can tell the first 2 are gonna be singles. Chain 2, jump, single crochet the next 2, and then come on down. So it's gonna fall down, and then here's the repeating. So just chain 2, skip the next one, single crochet the next, and then come on down. So I'll be quiet for the remaining of the row. As I'm getting close to the edge, just chaining 2 after this one, skipping 1, single crochet in the next 2, and then I'm into the point, the turning chain. So it's going to be half double crochet and then a double, and then I'm gonna turn my work for row number 14 and match stitch to stitch, chain for chain, and I'll be right back in a moment and we'll talk about the repeating, and then we're gonna move on to doing more work in just a moment. Now that I showed you all the way to the end of number 14, you're going to continue, and these colors in this particular yarn will come out like this. And so one color is just gonna be phasing in and out like it does with like what we're doing. So even though we're narrow right now, as the yarn is getting to move, you'll see that there's a shift in color, and in actual fact the pink changed just slightly. I don't know if anybody even noticed that. So you have to repeat the set of instructions of going 3 through 14 until the center line measures approximately 35 inches deep. So 35 inches deep coming down. Once you get that, you're going to end with 2 rows of B, which will be the end of row number 14. We then have to pick up and we have to finish off the edging so that we can get this to fill in, because if you look at here really carefully here right now is that the edge of 14 we do have spaces that are here, so we have to be able to fill those in as we go. And so as we begin to do this is that we are going to finish this and then we're going to do your edging then on the other side of this, which is right here, to bury in the yarn strands that you're gonna carry. So we're now going to move on to doing this. So you're gonna repeat rows number 3 through 14 until you get to the total of 35 inches deep. If you want it longer, you can do that. You'll just need more yarn, and we're gonna begin the edging row number 1 next. So as we begin to do the edging, once you do the repeats a certain amount of times, you're going to have an edging. Now I believe 2 rows are missing in the instruction for this, and the reason for it I'm thinking that is that you can see that there is gapping spaces left, and in the sample you don't see that at all, and normally in Mosaic when that happens they do a filler. So what I'm about to do and show you is something that's not in the pattern, and I'm going to be using the next color and I'm gonna go there and back, and then we're going to begin the edging from that spot. So let me show you the 2 rows that don't exist in the pattern, but I think that they should. So that's up to you on what you would like to do. So I'm just gonna finish up the last row, and I'm just gonna pull this color through, and I'm gonna use that color to do the 2 rows that don't exist in the pattern. So what I want to do is that I'm looking for the drop downs. So basically what I'm seeing this is that I'm gonna single crochet in all the stitches that have single crochets, but if there's a space I want to fill it in and make those drop downs happen. So you're gonna begin the row like you already know it to be, and you're gonna chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and in the same one that you're coming out of you're going to half double crochet. So the edging does not change in that manner. Now you're just gonna look for the stitches and apply 1 single crochet in each one of the stitches as you go, and if there's a space you're not gonna create any more spaces, but you are going to drop down to make that happen. Okay, so in this case we're gonna drop on down and just to fill it in and make it solid. So what we're doing is that we're finishing it so that the edging will be solid. So then continue to jump. It's a nice easy row to be able to remember because you're just looking for space. Okay, and now you're gonna jump on down. So do that all the way across to the center point where I'll pick you up in just a moment, and I'll be right back. So I'm coming close to the center point, and I want to maintain that spacing that we have. We may have to use that in the future, so let's not get rid of it. So single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Now you should know just 2 weeks ago is when I actually filmed the other stuff here. I've been kind of waiting to determine if I was gonna make these 2 rows happen in the pattern or not, so I was just kind of on the fence about it. So now you're just gonna continue down the other side, again filling in the single crochets with singles, and then jumping on down when there's opportunity to do that, which is right now. So you're gonna drop down because there's a space, and etc. I'll see you at the end of the row in just a moment. Okay, coming to the very end of the row, and I'm just filling in those single crochets like we already know, and that turning chain of course is going to be a half double crochet and then a double crochet to expand. So you're gonna turn your turn your project, and now you're gonna go back in the other direction. So again, this doesn't exist in the pattern. So chain 3 to begin, and then a half double crochet into the same stitch, and it's just nice and simple. Just apply 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way to the point, which is the center point. Center point will stay the same of single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and then begin to single crochet down the other side, and I will meet you at the end of the row in just a moment. I recommend moving that stitch marker while you're there in the center point as well. I'll see you at the end of the row in a moment. So I'm coming up to the end of this row that is a bonus row, and the last stitch, or sorry, the chain 3 turning chain, sorry, is a half double crochet and then a double crochet. This is the end of this color, so you're gonna switch it out at the end of this particular one. So just switch it back to the blue, and this color here you can cut now. So cut it long enough so you can at least throw it through a tapestry needle, and you can just let it rest for now and we'll deal with showing you how to do the ends. So now we're gonna pick up back up at the edging of the pattern in row number 1, and we're going to just be using the same color then to finish the remaining. The sample is so small that you don't see the transitionings happening within the ball itself, but if it was bigger then you would see that happening. So let's continue to the first row of the edging. First row of the edging, just with this color, it's nice and simple. You're just gonna chain 2. Does not count as a stitch, so in the very first stitch that's straight on down you're going to apply 2 half double crochets. So recall that because you're gonna need to know that in the future. It's that simple. Now just in each stitch across it's just gonna be 1 half double crochet, and then when you get to the point in the center you are going to apply 1 half double crochet, chain 2, 1 half double crochet right into the point. I would recommend moving the stitch marker up as well. So I need you to do that and then just go down the other side with half double crochet, where I'll meet you at the end of the row in just a moment. So I'm coming close to the end of the row, and in the turning chain, that chain 3 turning, what we're going to do is 2 half double crochets only, and that was the first row. So it's filling in everything beautifully. So you're gonna turn your work and let's begin row number 2. Row number 2, 3, and 4 are actually the same row instructions, so you can do it a total of 3 times if you wish. Let me show you how that's done. You're gonna be using the horizontal bar. So as you begin rows 2, 3, and 4 you can do it a total of those 3 times, and I'll leave that for you to do. So you're just gonna chain 2 and it will not count as a double crochet stitch. It's just a filler. In the beginning stitch you are going to apply then 2 half double crochets. From here you're then going to apply the half double crochet in the horizontal bar. So this is the regular stitch that you see up here, but this bar here is where you want to play. So when you go in you want to come in here, and what this is doing is it's turning the project on its forward, so meaning forward away from you. So it's going to have a nice line in the front. So working all the way down on the horizontal bar you're going to just half double crochet. So remember you got your regular stitches and it's the bar that is closest down to the attaching. So when you get to the middle I'll meet you there in a moment at the peak, or sorry at the point, and I'll be back in just a moment. So here I am at the peak. I run out of stitches. This is the last one, and so in the peak then you will apply 1 half double crochet, chain 2, just move up your stitch marker, and then half double crochet into the same spot like that. So then starting in the next one, horizontal bar again all the way to the end, and I'll see you at the end of the row. This is row number 2 of the edging. Coming up to the end of row number 2, and in the very last regular stitch you are going to apply 2 half double crochet. Now I need you to repeat what you just learned 2 more times. So you can see there's a little bit of a texture there going on. So rows number 3 and 4 is exactly what you know, so just chain 2 and 2 half double crochets in the regular stitch, and then start with the horizontal bar again, starting with the very next one. Just slide it on up and make it happen. So you're gonna do that. You'll do your point as you know it. That's a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet, and then you'll get to the other side and put 2 half double crochets in the last, and then you'll do it for 1 more row, which is row number 4. So I'm gonna pick you up at the end of row number 4 because we have just to finish off, and we also have some instructions to also take care of just before we're done this sample. I'll see you at the end of number 4 in a moment. So now at the end of row number 4 I'm gonna fasten off, and when we come back I'm gonna show you how to weave in the ends with the tapestry needle. Any ends that you have you'll want to do, and you're just gonna snip your yarn and get ready for the next section next. So I just putting the yarn tail onto the end of the tapestry needle. Any loose ends that I have I want to get rid of. So I'm just going to drag it underneath the stitch work, and you want to drag it back and forth a total of 3 times. Just stay inside the stitch. Do not impact the outside. So you notice that I'm looking at the back end, so stay on the back end side for this. Just slightly adjust it so that you can, it's just taut, it's not too tight, so you don't want to change the shape of anything, and you're dragging the yarn through back and forth a total of 3 times. The lucky thing about this pattern is that you were dragging the yarn up as you were going. We're gonna be dealing with that next, but we still have this one to deal with, and you're gonna do it the same way, back and forth 3 times. Stay within the same color so that it's invisible, and please do that. And you'll also want to do the center to get rid of that one out as well. So back and forth 3 times, and that's where I'm gonna pick you up in a moment. So I've now woven in all the tails. So the only thing that's kind of outstanding is when we were dragging the yarn up when we were doing this. This is why we're doing this final border across. So using a slip knot just like so, just get my hook ready, put it onto the hook, and you're gonna go right into the tip. You're going to attach, chain 1 and 1 single crochet. Now this here was made up of single crochets in the rows, if you recall. So all you just need to do is equally space out these single crochets as you go back towards the middle of your shawl. So I'm concentrating as I'm doing this. So you want to concentrate into something that makes sense. So you don't necessarily want to go into a huge gapping space, but you would want to go into some chain work to make it look consistent. So if your particular project is starting to ruffle out, then that means that you're going too slow. If it's starting to pull in, so this is starting to pull with you, it means that you're moving too quickly. So I've been crocheting a long time that I have the idea on how it's looking space wise, and so that's just experience that comes with that. So you want to be a little bit fussy on how you're gonna do it, and making sure that if you think it's ruffling, it's the time to change it or to frog a little bit out and retry a little bit more. So what I'll do is I'll get myself to the center point, and I'll pick you up there in just a moment. So I'm coming near to the center point. All I'm just doing is jumping over the center point when you really truly think about it. It's not rocket science, right? Thank God. I would totally fail. So I want to come right into the center piece that I'm about to do, and then you just continue on the other side. So you can see that when I lay it down, it's looking pretty good, and there's no buckling happening. So that means I'm moving at the right pace, and I'm gonna continue. Now this side's gonna be unique in the sense that you're gonna have those yarns that have been carried up on the side. So this is why the border is being attached here, this edging. I'm almost a little disappointed I didn't do more of this just to see the colors change, because that's exciting for me, but I'm glad that I can at least present to you the steps that it took to get here. So okay, so this, you can see this yarn is being over carrying up. So when I go over it, I want to carry it inside the stitch, and you keep carrying them until they're invisible. See? So now that one's being carried. Again, just use the same technique that you know, just going into equally spacing, but making sure that you're jumping over top of them and trapping them inside the stitch work itself. See? So I want you to go all the way to the point, or the other side, and that's where I'm gonna pick you up in just a moment from now. So I'm coming up to the other side, and I want to move all the way to the point where I kind of started on the other side, if you recall, and that's where it's going to end. So I've already shown you how to weave off your ends. So you'll snip your yarn, sorry, and you will throw it through a tapestry needle and weave it back and forth, and therefore you have your border done. And let me just back you out here. And this is a really neat concept. So it's kind of a miniature. You could have this for Barbie, maybe a little bit too big for Barbie, but that's about it. And this is the Crochet Mosaic Shawl by yarnspirations.com. Have a good one. We hope to see you again real soon. Bye bye.